The Star Wars phenomenon is bigger than ever. The Return of the Jedi is now sweeping the continent, with long lineups that started days before the film even opened, and record-breaking earnings on its very first day.
It was Star Wars hysteria. The world could not get enough of the galaxy far, far away. After completing the trilogy, creator George Lucas wanted to make something for his daughter Amanda. The idea was a half-hour-long TV film inspired by Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but with the furry creatures he created for Return of the Jedi. CEO of Industrial Light and Magic, Thomas G. Smith, wanted to pursue a career as producer. Lucas told him about his Ewok idea and proposed that Smith could make it his first project. Smith left ILM and started pitching the idea for the Ewok holiday special to all the major television networks. ABC showed interest, but only if the running time was expanded significantly to fit the 2-hour segment ABC's Sunday Night Movie. Lucas hired his Oscar and Emmy-winning neighbour, friend and former colleague as director and cinematographer. The story was provided by Lucas, and his assistant Bob Carew wrote the teleplay for With a budget of $3 million, pre-production started April 1984. 15-year-old Warwick Davis and the other Ewok actors from Return of the Jedi was automatically cast. Corty and Smith held auditions for the other parts in Los Angeles and Marin County. 4-year-old Aubrey Miller from Sebastopol, California was spotted modelling children's clothes and exuded a modern Shirley Temple look, according to director Corty. She was cast even though she could not read or memorise the lines. Thankfully, she was a good mimic, so the production just fed her the lines during filming. The part of her brother was given to Eric Walker, based on a monologue he had prepared.
And I was crying for her. Mama, help me! Mama, help me! And she opened the door.
With the addition of Guy Boyd and Fiona Flanagan, the stranded Tawney family was complete. Marin County, California was chosen for location, particularly the public parkland called Roy's Redwoods, located only 5 miles from the Skywalker Ranch. Filming began in June and lasted 8 weeks, with the shooting structured around child labour laws as well as the children's school schedules.
Really quiet, please. Are you okay, Mike Man? Okay. Holding traffic.
Okay, guys, clear in the background.
Thank you.
During production, Lucasfilm provided Warwick Davis and Eric Walker with their video camera, feeling that it would be educational for the two. Their on-set tutor had the idea for them to make a documentary about the making of the film. The boys proceeded to shoot behind-the-scenes footage, editing in their hotel room using Lucasfilm equipment.
Here's Debbie. Debbie, please say something to test our mic. What do you say into the microphone?
What can I say into the microphone? This young boy here on the camera is a very good actor. I know he's going to go far if he'd only get that attitude out of his head.
He can't play no basketball.
No, I heard he's a very good basketball player.
After principal photography, there was 1 week of reshoots. Corty was unavailable due to prior commitments, so Lucas himself stepped in and directed parts of the shoots uncredited.
He had more of a hands-on involvement in these movies than a lot of people know. When we had to do the 1 week reshoot to do all the retakes later in August, he actually directed all the reshoots. So I actually got directed by George Lucas, which was a pleasure and an honor.
After production was complete, Lucas and Smith oversaw the post-production, which utilised many Star Wars veterans. Warren Franklin, who started at ILM during the making of Empire Strikes Back, took on the responsibility as general manager. Matte painter Michael Pangracio stepped up as visual effects supervisor, while Chris Evans and Craig Barron supervised the matte artists Frank Ordaz and Caroline Green. Optical cameraman John Ellis managed the photographers Paul Houston and David Fincher.
When we wanted to show a great expanse of the landscape in this other world, it was not always possible to build it in the studio. So we relied on one of the most effective special tricks of films, glass matte painting. The live-action foreground material was photographed at the studio, and a special artist then painted most of the landscape on glass to match the previously photographed part of the scene. The two images were then married together on film.
John Berg designed the main antagonist Gorax, which he portrayed with both a stop-motion model as well as himself in costume. Berg had experiences designing and playing characters in the cantina scene, animating the iconic chess scene as well as the AT-AT attack in collaboration with pioneers Dennis Muren and Phil Tippett. On Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the team had fine-tuned stop-motion animation and pioneered the technique called Go Motion, which gave the puppets a more realistic movement because of the motion blur it created. Due to budget restrictions on the Ewok Adventure, they had to rely on traditional stop-motion. Future director Joe Johnston, the chief concept designer for the original Star Wars trilogy, created the overall look of the Ewoks with George Lucas for Return of the Jedi. He was appointed production designer on the Ewok Adventure and worked on the film between his semesters at University of Southern California. After working for Lucas for almost 10 years, Johnston had expressed the desire to take some time off for travelling. Lucas suggested he use the time to go to film school and offered to give Johnston half a salary and even pay his tuition fees. On top of that, Johnston even found time to write an illustrated Ewok spin-off book, The Adventures of Tebow, a tale of magic and suspense. Johnston wanted to preserve the visuals that the Star Wars fans were accustomed to, but he found himself limited by the budget. To save money, they used full-size wings from the Empire Strikes Back snowspeeders as part of the Tawani Star Cruiser. The asteroid worm puppet from the same film was recycled for the tree attack scene. In an interview, Lucas stated, "It was a chance to use many people in the company who hadn't had much experience with live-action production and experiment a little. The economics of TV is vastly different than the economics of film. It was done for very little money. Many people believe this production was a dry run for a future Lucas project where Warwick Davis would play a more significant role." The Ewok Adventure debuted on November 25, 1984.
Tonight, a special presentation of the ABC Sunday Night Movie. From the creators of the Star Wars saga, a world premiere presentation. A bold adventure of courage and daring.
Mace, we're lost!
Where heroes become legends, and the only thing you can be sure of is magic.
Some radio stations broadcast a simultaneous audio track in order to create a stereo experience for the home audience.
Sunday. I love the movie. From the creators of the Star Wars saga.
It's terrific.
With approximately 60 million viewers, it received the second highest rating that year for an ABC movie and was nominated for 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, Outstanding Children's Programming and Outstanding Special Visual Effects, winning the latter. In Mexico, Australia, New Zealand and parts of Europe, the film was given a limited theatrical release under the new title Caravan of Courage, an Ewok Adventure, with a poster art by legendary artist Drew Struzan. In the French edition of the film, the end credit score was replaced with Le Petit Ewoks by French singer Dorothy. She had made a career out of pop songs connected to children's entertainment. After the massive success, ABC expressed interest in having the film be the pilot for a TV series. Lucas wasn't interested but started work on a sequel.